back to the channel. My name is J.R. Carroll. I am the author of the More Than Human novels, and today we are going to be reviewing The Poppy War. Now, this is a book over the last 2 years that has been super popular on Booktube, one of the Booktube darling books. And I've been wanting to get to it for a long time, but so many books, so little time. But this is the year that I wanted to get into the trilogy, and so we'll start off the year with the first book, The Poppy War. And this is a book that follows a young woman named Ren. When we first meet her, she is, I want to say she's like 13, 14 years old, and she is a war orphan. This, it's kind of based on, China, and this area has been conquered over and over again. Different poppy wars have happened, and, what they did here in this area is had people kind of almost force people to take in war orphans, so that they don't become criminals and a burden on the system. And so she had her adopted parents are actually drug dealers. They actually sell, poppy seeds, and she is kind of caught up in that as a kind of a mule. Like she delivers the stuff to people and picks up the money and all that good stuff. She is, at one point she's supposed to get married, and it's kind of an arranged marriage, and she doesn't want that. She's like, no marriage, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be my, the trope we've heard over and over again. I want to be my own person. But one thing I did notice, and this is kind of an overarching thing, I am sure that the author was influenced by Ursula K. Le Guin, because this book really, everything that happens really kind of mirrors Earthsea, at least the first book. You have this person that wants to come out and get some. She ends up getting a mentor at one point, and the mentor is trying to teach her about this powerful magic, but trying to slow pace it and tell her you'll get more out of it and you'll understand more about the world if you just go slow. But of course, they don't ever. But she, the way she figures about getting out of this is by taking this test. And there's this test that like everybody can take, and it's a super difficult test. But if you pass it, you get free tuition to this military academy. So that's her plan. And she finds this guy who tutors people, and he's like, you don't have enough time. It comes up in, I think, 2 years. And she's like, he goes, these kids have been studying for 5 or 10 years for this test. There's no way. And she's like, I'm super smart. I can catch up on things. And so, of course, she does. But there's some wonkiness about the test, about, how could a common, person do so well when, and beat all these people in their scores and stuff when they've been studying and they're from rich families. A lot of recognizable tropes in this book, but she actually goes on, and of course she goes into this military school, and of course, so she finds somebody's mean to her and bullies her, and turns into dark academia kind of, and then not going to spoil it, so I don't want to go too much further into it, but from here, I'll say, a lot of stuff is very, like, you kind of see coming, but there is some very, very brutal things that happen. And actually, I just a few months ago or several months ago, I read American Psycho, one of the most brutal books ever written. But the thing, she actually does something to herself. And it's so weird because I'm normally not like this, but she does something to herself that kind of like made me like, oh, why would you do that? That's like, I felt bad, and I'm like, why would you make that decision? But even past that, there's some very brutal things Author does not shy away from it, but I still feel like that first thing that she does to herself was worse than all the atrocities, war atrocities that we see later on. I don't know why I feel that way, but yeah. So very dark book, and it kind of switches genres a lot. And, you have this small town peasant trying to make it nice, and then you have the dark academia, and then after that it becomes kind of closer to an epic style fantasy, dark, grim dark fantasy towards the end of this book. um, and so without spoiling anything, I will kind of go into how I feel about the book itself. And sometimes I'll think, well, the storyteller is amazing. Like that was her strong. Somebody's strong suit is their ability to tell an amazing story and show an amazing plot. But I feel that Kuang, I feel like her strong suit is her writing ability. The story, it's weird. I didn't think the story was so great. I didn't think like, wow, what a great story. I've never seen this coming. This is something new. That's a great spin. I really never thought about that. It was just okay, it's okay, that's okay. But her writing ability, her wordsmithery was very good. And I think, some people are great storytellers and average writers, and some people are average storytellers and great writers. And I feel like that's where the story was just an average overall story, but the way she was able to write it and her writing and descriptions and stuff brought it to life. But let me know, are you interested in the Poppy War? Have you read the Poppy War? Where does it rank for you? How do you feel about it? Let me know in the comments. My January giveaway is still going on. I'm going to pick from somebody who has commented on a video this month, and they will receive a free book. And if you want to support the channel, check out the Patreon. And remember, be more than human.